And as you can see, everything else is a very plain box. Hello, this is BJ from Hearns Hobbies, and today I'll be looking at one of the Tamiya white box kits. Now, what is white box? Well, this is one of the white box. So perhaps not many people are familiar with these, but the white box kits are the pre-production kits that are made available to the public before the main production of the kit is released. So it's a very plain box. It's just a sticker on the front with the box art that's been designed. You see on the, pointing the wrong end, over here, this is a little sticker that's stating that this is a pre-production kit and it's not for resale. So generally you only see these at special show events. We picked this up when we were at the Shizuoka Hobby Show in 2018, and I just found it the other day. I thought, why not have a closer look at it? Now, this particular one, what they do is these are available for sale to the general public who attend the shows. So you get to pick up a kit before it's available anywhere else. And it goes out so that they can get some feedback from anyone who builds it. And also these are the ones that are sent out to the reviewers before the main production is released. So hence why it's got a pretty basic box. I like this little sticker here. It's got the Tamiya naming in the kanji in Japanese. And then, as you can see, everything else is a very plain box. All right, let's have a close look from the top. There's your box. So that's the original artwork, and we know now that this has been released for a little while now. So that is the finished artwork they've produced for the actual box. Here is the, I guess you call it an official stamp. So you got the Tamiya here. And then we've got the warning here. This is for the 2018 Shizuoka Hobby Show. And this is not to be resold. Okay, so we got these, and I actually built one. So I've got it right here. Look at that. So we'll have a closer look at this a bit later. But the first thing we'll do is we'll look at the actual kit. Okay, so when we open it up, it's just going to be like any other kit. Okay, so it's got all your bits, they're all bagged. What it does miss is it doesn't have full, fully printed instructions. It's got pre-production instructions. And I guess that's so when they get the feedback, they can change anything if they need to as well. All right, so let's have a look at all the bits a bit closer up. All right, so we've got this bag here. So this is going to have all the wheels in it. 2 identical sprues. So we've got the suspension arms. We've got shocks. So this is all pretty much under chassis parts. We have disc brakes, and you got all the steering rods as well. Now the steering on this, because it's a 4-wheel steer car, the front 4 wheels do steer. It actually has all the working linkages, and I'll show you that on the working model a bit later. Okay, we've got all the hubs. Let's get in a bit tighter. Okay, so let's shift that aside. You can see the beautiful sharp detail as we expect from Tamiya all the time. You've got all these really heavy bolts, details on the wheels. We've got the hubs. You can see the classical hubs which you often see on 24 scale car kits for the working steering hubs. There you've got the suspension arms, and again you've got those open C sections so that they can actually rotate. Various bits here. You've got antenna mounts. You've got this is a part of the ladder system, I guess, for the crew. Some shocks. Got the other set of wheels. And then you got your disc brakes. Well, disc brakes are pretty nice. So these are very car-like too. These are almost the same physical size as a 24 scale one. And so from the back, they take the very classical polycap fitment in the back there, so that the wheels, you see these wheels, you've got the axles there, they'll push through, and so the wheels also rotate. And then we have all the steering rods and little handles and things like that. Okay, so that's 2 identical sprues there. All right, what else do we get? We've got a bag of tires. Really nice. So we've got 8 tires here. Super detail, which you're going to see. There's a little packet of pretty common polycaps. I guess you see those in car kits all the time. But when we zoom in, you see what I'm talking about. Actually, let's get in a bit tighter. We can get the focus right so you can actually see the detail, how sharp it is. All right, so you can see how the side walls have got all that really sharp detail. You actually got the brandings written there. You've got the mold marks, and then you've got this really sharp tread pattern too. So off-road, road tread. Done a really nice job on these. And you know, it's flexible rubber. They're hollowed on the inside, so they're just going to fit over the wheels. Superb. Okay, so there are your wheels. Let's pop those aside. And then we've got this big sprue here. Okay, so this is your main hull. Multiple piece. Quite often you see that the bottom hull section will have, it's in one piece like it is here, but the top hull section, you see how it's very flat? Usually you find this molded with the sides in it. But because these are very flat-sided, if I did that, because the molds come down like this, you will get very vague detail on the sides. So I made them separate. And you can get very sharp details because they're separate and they're facing this way. So there's a lot of venting detail here and also on this side. So when we cut it in tight, all right, so you see these vents there? And then along here as well, on this side. And then when you go into the upper surface details here, you can see these sort of matte parts there. This is the anti-slip coating effect. Done a really good job there. And then you get your driver's compartment. So this is where the periscopes are going to be. You got your engine section here. And then we've got the turret ring. And then you have your rear end. Okay, and you see on the bottom of the hull, it's got a sort of V-shaped hull. Okay, that's quite common in modern designs now. And then all your suspension arms are going to be all hanging off of here. Really nice. Okay, so that's the main hull. Then we've got some clear parts here. Really nice clear parts. These are the periscopes pretty much. What I've got here that's dark that I can show you off these. Let's bring out this blue matte. This should be able to make it a bit easier. All right, and zoom it in a bit. Okay, so you can see all the periscopes. So all through the turret, the gun turret, and also the driver's compartment. So they're quite extended, they're like full size. So if you do paint all the way around, you do get this sort of dark effect. It's a more realistic effect because it is transferring some light from the inside as well. You get that perfect glass reflection. See how shiny this stuff is. Got some of the lens covers for the aiming device on the gun. And then you've got some rear lights as well. Driving lights, indicators and such. So nice clear bits. Okay, pop that over there, don't need that anymore. All right, so we've got another big sheet of bits. And we've got some more poly caps. Okay, so more rubbery poly cups there. Let's get that back in the bag. All right, so here we've got all the little bits and pieces that are predominantly on the bottom of the armored car. So this is if I didn't say so, this is actually the Type 16. We've got the figures. We've got a commander figure here. And we've got probably the gunner, I guess. Now, if I zoom in, so this is around the time when sort of the start of their 3D scanning of figures. And it's remarkable how realistic the figures are. Okay, so the folds of the clothing and also the faces are spectacular. So once they're painted up, I'll show you the ones that I've painted up. They do have a very Japanese or Asian look to them. Okay, all the features are there. And seeing that this is a Japanese vehicle, it makes sense that, you know, culturally they do look right as well. Okay, so if we go through, what have we got here? We've got various tools. Okay, that are mounted on the vehicle. Pickaxe. Got some cabling. There's an axe there. Okay, so you've got the side, this goes the side panel of the chassis. This is a step for the crew to get up. There's another step there with some indicators on the sides. Upper hull parts, and then we get into suspension components. Okay, so these are like sub-assemblies, they're like blocks. See the suspension arms there. There's another one there, and you can see there's big bolt details as well. Okay, so there's 4 of these sub-assemblies, so one for each pair of running wheels, I guess. We go past the figures again, and then we get into the drive sections. So really nicely clean cooling fins for the differentials and the drive shafts. You see the rubber boots on the end of them. Same down here. We've got the helmets just down here. It's 2 vehicle crew helmets. Some of their pouches that go on the sides. And then there's a few panels that go on the hull as well here. This section here, which is part of the steering system. Okay, so that's one of those big sections. And then we've got, oh, better zoom out, I think. Now this one is predominantly the turret. Okay, and I mean there's massive turrets on these armoured cars. It's a full-size main battle tank turret. Pretty sure it's a 120mm gun. So again, you've got multiple sections for the turret to get all the really great detail molded in place. Let's just move that out of the way. So we've got the top, we've got the base. Okay, so it's got that bayonet fitting that goes onto the hull. This is the sides. You can see how they're angled. And they've been able to break it down, so it's the best way of getting all the detail. This is the rear end of the tank. So, actually, is that the rear end? No, that's the front end with the driving lights. And then we've got the stowage netting that goes on the back of the turret. You've got your 50 cal machine gun, multiple pieces, the mount. And then there's the, the barrel protective canvas. And then you've got the barrel there all in one piece. End is separate, so you can get that nice hollowed look. You'll be able to see all the fine tie down details all along there, along the sides of the turret. This is the front end with those openings for the headlights and the indicators. And your mantlet for the gun there. I'm guessing there's a coax machine gun on the other side, right there. And then here's all that really fine. You see with Tamiya, there's never any flashing, especially like that. Look at how clean that molding is. These are the mounts for the smoke discharges. You got your 50 cal there in multiple pieces. Aiming devices for the main gun, probably sighting. There's the canvas. And as we go over, we've got some hatches. Another hatch there. And then we end up with the top of the turret. And again, you can see the matte sections there for the anti-slip. And gun covers. Oh, another hatch. Okay, so really nice. And then that's all the plastic bits. And what we do is we're left with some documentation. So what do they give you? Okay, so we've got these are all just photocopied. You can still see the printing guide marks here. And as photocopies, you can see, they're pretty basic. But this is I guess the pre-production. There would have been color, I guess, in the full printing. So multiple languages on a history of the actual vehicle. And then we've got a photo copy here in color. So to help you actually do all the painting and the decals. And then we've got the manual as well. So the manual's just been stapled. Again, it has all the pre-production printing guide marks. And over here, so this is to let you know that it is a prototype and things could change. So you got these standard sort of things. Layout looks very to me. You got your paint guide, you got your tool guide, and then we get into building. So the first thing you do is build the hull. Multiple sections. You got the front end and the back end of the hull, so lights and then the back lights. Sides of the hull going together, and then you start building up all the suspension. So this is the working part for the steering. All the suspension going in. Suspension sub-assemblies getting glued into place. All the shocks. You've got all the hubs with the disc brakes. They're mounted. Then you mount up your wheels with the tires. They get mounted. Upper hull detail, so driver's compartment. You've got the armored cupola. All the upper tools, they get mounted on the back. Then we'll start fitting in the rear tools. Assembly of the turret. So you can see how the turret, the mantlet is in a hinge system, so the gun can actually be elevated. All the periscopes that I showed you earlier, they're all glued in. And then these are the bases so that the figures can glue on, because the figures are a half figure. They don't actually have legs, but they don't need all the legs because you won't see that anyway. And then you have the turret top glued to the bottom, and then the sides are fit in place. These are smoke discharges. We've got the mantlet armor going on, cupola, sights, and then we start putting the gun together. Finishing off all the rest of the detail on the top of the hull, gun gets put into the turret. You've got your antenna mounts, machine gun mount. Here's the stowage bin at the back. The 50 cal machine gun getting put together. And then you get into the figures, mount it into the turret, and then place onto the actual hull. And that's it. So that is a white boxed Tamiya kit. So they have had quite a few. Most of them you wouldn't have seen outside of Japan. And here is one of the samples that I built. So this is one that I built quite a while ago. It is a little dark. Actually looked a lot better before I put the flat clear on. So with flat clears, you have to keep this in mind that it can darken colors. So the brown was a lot lighter before my flat clear went onto it. And that was all fully brush painted. Okay, so here's a closer look at all the details. This is the wheels. So I'll put a light black wash on these. And then you've got the indicators. You see those on each side. So that was simply painting some silver and then overcoating that with clear orange to get that correct tone. And then we're going to the front there. So there's some decals. Actually, I forgot to show you the decals. The decals are just here. There we go. But they're still all in the packet, so I'm not going to pull them out. So white decals are all molded or printed on one piece. So that would have been a thicker white ink. So you wouldn't see the green coming through. And then you've got some divisional markings there as well. Okay, so here is where we've got those decals. And I've weathered them, so it looks like there's dirt and things that have gone over it. Here you can see the headlights, indicator and the fog lamps. Start going into the bottom. Actually, let's keep looking through the top first, and I'll pull it out a bit because I'm probably a bit tight here, but this will allow you to see all the tight details. You see all those handles and such? All the tie downs, really nice. There's a driver's compartment. There's the gun itself, you can see how it can elevate. But since we've got it really tight, let's have a look at these driver figures. And you can see what I'm talking about, how realistic they look. They've done a really good job. They've always been known for their figures. And there have been other brands which have produced some really good figures too. I mean, you've got Dragon, Mini Art, Masterbox. But I think Tamiya always come back and produce something really good. See how natural they look. That's spectacular, I think. Machine gun looks really good. And you can see how those clear glass sections, just there with the reflection, okay, it makes a huge difference to have that reflection. And you can see there as well in that sight. And then there's all the periscopes around the turret cupola there as well. Okay, so here's all the fine detail along the sides. There's a divisional marking, quite like that one. Okay, so you got some more decals. So the decals have come up really well. Again, there we go. All right, so let's pull it out just a touch. Actually, that's probably good there. How's that? Let's just make sure that's all. Well, there's the smoke discharges. So that's what it looks like there. So there should be quite a lot more contrast between the brown and the green. I could probably fix this up one day if I feel like it. But this was all brush painted with acrylics. And then the clear I used was TS80, which is a really good clear, but I should have remembered that it does darken your tones. And that's why sometimes when you see works in progress, the camouflage pattern does look really highly contrasted. And that's because flat clear is going to cut it back like this. So there you go. Beautiful kit. Okay, so there you go. That is the white boxed or pre-production Type 16 army car, or I don't know, I guess it's a tank on wheels. Well, I guess all tanks are on wheels, but they've got tracks around them, haven't they? So there we go, the Type 16. So thank you for watching, and if you liked that video, if you give me a like below, that'll be greatly appreciated. And if you'd like to see more content like this, please consider subscribing. So thank you very much.